Yeah.
So I was a 21-year-old baby.
And what stage are you now in? Puberty?
Yeah, I'm in puberty right now. I'd say I'm 15 right now.
And what did you learn then from 1 to 15? What is the things that you've learned now, more specifically, that you've made you grow from being a baby to a 15-year-old?
To always trust your instincts, especially if they feel like they're crazy. Always trust the craziest.
Name me one.
What's that?
Name me one.
I can't, because I don't know what.
I mean one crazy instinct you've had.
I don't know. I have them every second. I don't know. It depends on the situation. But let's say someone walks down a street, and you feel like you might get robbed down that street because you feel a vibe, and you also notice that somebody could be a sketchy person that doesn't want you. You don't feel welcome. It's like, oh, I'll respect this street, and I'll leave them alone because. And I was walking down a street the other day, and I just didn't feel like that street needed me, So it's one of those things where I almost got into some trouble the other day. But you have an instinct. You got to trust it. You got to trust your instinct. Anybody should, I don't know. It just depends on the situation.
No, but I mean, music-wise, the things that you've done now. Do you have an example, or maybe that you really trusted your instinct?
Oh, okay.
In the music?
Well, I was watching a Ken Burns documentary on Thomas Jefferson. You know Thomas Jefferson? He was one of the presidents of the United States, and wrote some important documents. I was watching a Ken Burns documentary on Thomas Jefferson, and they had a direct descendant of Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson's one of his slaves, and anyway, he had children with this woman named Sally Hemings, but
I think it's around 1800 or something.
Early 1800s,
yeah.
And like around like the Lewis and Clark time. I'm not sure exactly what year. I think the expedition of Lewis and Clark was like 1804 maybe. I'm assuming. I don't really know actually the year.
I think it's 1806 or something, because I read about it, him having a children with
with Sally Hemings. Yeah. Well, the interesting thing was this descendant of Sally and Thomas Jefferson. He was basically sat down by his family, and they told him the story. When he was old enough maybe to understand, or I don't know how old he was, but. They told him the story, and he was like, okay, thanks for telling me the information, and I assume that his father was sat down, and his father's father, and all the way up. I don't know exactly, how long ago, or how many people were sat down that were told this, but either way, I obsessed about that idea of a song, for a song, and I kept on, something came in my head, like a word came in my head, and I'm like, oh, that's stupid. But then it's like, oh yeah, it's stupid, therefore it must be good. If I hate it, that must mean I must face my, what I hate.
Yeah.
The idea of, and they're just insecurities or fears of like what it could possibly sound or look like. It's like, I don't want to know what it's going to sound or look like until it's done.
But is it hard to follow that? Because I think that every time that you have to overcome some sort of fear, does it get easier? Does it get...
Yeah, it can get easier. Yeah, because you just can't take yourself seriously. You can only take what you obsess over seriously, because it has nothing to do with you. It's just whatever you're obsessing over. It's just it's an element that exists, and whoever you are, you've got to acknowledge those things. You just got to acknowledge them, and in the end, it's good for yourself. It's very healthy for yourself. So I just want to be a healthy person, essentially, and just trust those instincts that you have, because. Your biggest weaknesses, your biggest insecurities are your superpowers. They really are.
If you overcome them.
If you just look them in the eye.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll ever overcome them, but just look them in the eye and acknowledge them. Because they exist. You can't deny that they exist. And you can't deny that Sally Hemings had Thomas Jefferson's children. Well, American history books deny that every day. But this is oral history. Yeah. It's always easier to trust oral American history than written American history. Unless you read Howard Zinn or something, He writes very straightforward history books, American history books. But that's probably a simple example that I could give you.